Have you ever wondered that who actually created this world? The planets, the stars, the galaxies? Oh wait, that's actually the second question. The real question is, was the universe created, or did it simply evolve? Take this plant, for example. The flower was already hidden inside the seed, and with the right environment, the seed naturally evolved into this beautiful life. When I was a kid, everyone around me would say, everything has a creator, just like every pot has a potter. Hearing that argument as a child felt absolute, as if truth was just handed to me, and I wondered why seekers like Buddha and Mahavir devoted their lives to finding what seemed so obvious. And it was obvious until I started searching and reading for myself, only to realize that it's not simple, it's actually much simpler. Because the moment you look closely at the very first word of that argument, your mind begins to drift into deeper questions. And that is, if everything must have a creator, then who created God? And if God can simply exist without creation, then why can't the universe simply exist as well? Bertrand Russell, in his book, Why I Am Not a Christian, puts it beautifully. The idea that things must have a beginning is really due to the poverty of our imagination. And not just that. If you pay attention to that example, you'll see that a pot is made by two elements, and that are, the person and the clay. This is similar to what Sakya philosophy teaches, that the entire universe arises from the interaction between Purish and Prakriti, Purish being pure consciousness, and Prakriti being the material foundation of everything. But unlike a potter shaping clay, Purish doesn't make anything. Purish simply witnesses. And from this example, it's obvious that if there's no clay, there's no potter. He becomes just an ordinary man, so the potter's role, his very existence as a potter, depends on the clay, the material cause. With this logic, we can say that God's existence also depends on a material cause, and if there is no material cause, can we even truly say that a creator God exists? Now this debate may go on without any conclusion, because atheists and theists will always bring endless arguments from their own sides. And at the end of the day, it's you who has to decide which side you stand on, creation or evolution, and it's important to decide, because this isn't just about believing in God or not, it reveals something much bigger, the philosophy you live by. So let me explain, because that's where the real fun begins. Anything that's created, like a house or a car, is always created out of some need, out of necessity, and because of that, it serves a purpose, so we can say, behind every creation, there lies a purpose. And hence the purpose of any creation is found in its use. But if you think about evolution, like the flower we talked about, it doesn't bloom because of some purpose, it blooms simply because it evolved in the right environment, so we can say that evolution carries no built-in purpose. You must have heard people say that nature has no morality, and the reason is simple, nature isn't driven by purpose or meaning, it just simply exists. And if you can enjoy life with this philosophy, good for you, but here's the issue, if life has no meaning or purpose, then why care about doing good? Some people might take this as a license to do bad things. And maybe that's why the Western world created the idea of a good God and an evil Satan, because people often don't choose good for its own sake, they choose it for a reward, for heaven. Even if you look at the word religion, it comes from the Latin word religare, which means to bind. The idea was simple, to remind people of their shared origins, and to keep them connected to one another in harmony. The problem began when people from different regions created their own religions and their own separate roots. What was meant to be common for all got split into different groups, and now those groups fight each other, each claiming theirs to be the true one. But hey, at least we found a purpose, right? Hold on, you might say this purpose isn't divine at all, it's something we created, and if that's true, then what is the real purpose? What's the purpose of reality itself, beyond the stories we tell ourselves? Well, in reality, there is no universal objective reality, reality is subjective, different for each of us. René Descartes puts it perfectly, we see the world through the mind, not through the eyes. In other words, we don't first see the world and then try to explain it, we only see the world in ways our mind is capable of explaining. And if you think about it, this is exactly what we do. From the moment we start thinking, we begin creating our own reality. You go to school with expectations, and your emotions rise or fall based on what happens. Slowly, without even realizing it, You build your own meaning of success, failure, and life itself. Now you might wonder, if we create our own reality, then what's the point of God? Think of it this way, for people who have parents, just knowing someone has your back gives you the courage to face life. Most of the time you don't even need their help, the feeling itself is enough. For many people, God works the same way. And whenever you feel like you need help but God isn't answering, pause and reflect deeply. You may realize that the things hurting you aren't coming from outside, they quietly come from within you. Let me tell you a story. A lumberjack went to a forest and found it barren. Angry, he looked up and said, "God, where are the trees?" God replied, "You're the one holding the axe." So here's the thing, your faith shouldn't simply come from ignorance, but rather, it should grow out of true understanding. And from understanding comes appreciation, a deep love for life, for nature. But true understanding only happens when we think, not just believe. Today, too many of us simply sit and accept what priests say, without exploring for ourselves. You have to realize this, no matter how much you love or respect someone else, their drinking won't quench your own thirst. As Osho says, truth cannot be borrowed, nobody can give it to you, not even a Buddha, which simply means, the journey is yours, go search for your own truth. So go on, keep exploring, keep searching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.